Hello there. In today's video, we're going to be now focusing on traditional file processing. Basically, a whole rundown of what traditional file processing is basically a method of data management where each application maintains its own separate files. The data is stored and processed directly to the programs without a centralized database system. So like this right here, we have all these programs here going into the file system, and then it will make and maintain each of the data management. All that data is managed into different separate files. Going into characteristics of TFP is basically, the first one is application dependent data, which each program controls each own file structure and format, which basically the structure could look something like this, where the program can control each files being its separate ones, but also can create any structure that the format the database is structured to build for. Second one is the data redundancy, which the same data may be stored into separate different files, which also in this design here, we have this file right here being put into multiple separate different files, which that data could also be just separate in multiple files with the same data. And finally, down here we have the limited data sharing, which all these files are isolated, which make interrogation more difficult than it has to be, which these isolated files might be either hidden or they might be just somewhere in your desktop if you don't organize all of your storage. Going through some advantages and disadvantages. We're going to start with the disadvantages first. So first off, with disadvantages, we have the data inconsistency, which many of these copies can be mismatched and they would become redundant, which this can make whole storage pile up, which makes everything slower and may lose track of your files, which some of those files may have important data. Next up is poor scalability, which it's very difficult for the TFP to manage large volumes of data. So it can have like a large, possibly amounts of the data in different files, but like a large quantities in like a single file of data, which it cannot hold due to the scalability being so weak. Speaking of weak, the security and the control are very weak while using TFP because with the built-in protection mechanisms being limited. Alongside with these negatives, we have the positives. Low cost and simplicity. There's no need for a complex database software. It's very simple. It's just very organized and very simple to do. As for the second one, we have tasks for small dedicated tasks, which basically the direct file access towards it can be efficient and simple systems, which the file transfer can be very smooth. Then the final one, we have the minimal overhead, which is the fewer layers between the application and the storage, which basically this sums up to there's no extra clump that happens between the applications and all of the storage. It becomes more linear and it's more easy access to get between the application and the storage. Now we're going to be going through the file organization methods, which the first one being sequential organization, which all these records are stored in order plus efficient for batch processing. The second one, we have index organization, which uses index to enable faster searching. And then finally, direct random access, which basically random access organization, which all these records are accessed and calculated at address using hashing. Basically, hashing is a technique where it efficiently sends data storage and retrieves the map data keys and memory locations using mathematical functions. As I wrap up this video today, basically overall summary of this, which basically I summed up the overall definition and characteristics on traditional file processing, then I labeled some of the positives and negatives in file processing, and then finally I mentioned methods and file organization by utilizing TFP. Thank you guys for watching for this video. Have a good day.